A few years ago, Em Beihold was out shopping when a young woman approached her.
I was in a cotton on and I was trying on clothes, and then this girl was like, "Do you sing Until I Found You?" And I said yes, and then she started sobbing, and like everyone in the store was like, "Oh, that was crazy." I feel like there haven't been a ton of those moments. They're few and far between, but when they do happen, I'm like, I'm just a girl.
She had hit songs, notoriety, and momentum. It was time to make an album. There was just one problem.
I was making all this music and a lot of it wasn't good, in my opinion.
This is the story of how the music industry can affect an artist and what Em Beihold overcame to create her debut album. I'm Jordan Edwards, and this is how music is made. Em grew up in Los Angeles, where she was a standout athlete and musician. She attended UC San Diego on a fencing scholarship, where she was all-conference twice. In 2019, she earned NCAA All-American honors. But Em knew from an early age that music would be her career.
I've played piano since I was 6. I wrote my first song at 7. I just think in terms of the piano. It helps me process things. Sometimes I wish I could play guitar, but I've just tried so many times and I just can't. And I saw an Elton John documentary where he was like, "My fingers were not made for guitar," and he's like, I don't know, 70 something. So if Elton John can give up on guitar, I think I can too. I was a musical theater kid, always in the background though because of my dancing. Acting is questionable, dancing is no, singing is fine. But I remember my community theater was doing Wizard of Oz, and I got a call back for Dorothy, and I was like, ah, and every part of the audition went great. And then it came to the dancing, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a munchkin, and that's okay. Sometimes you're going to be a munchkin.
With Broadway seemingly out of reach and limited opportunities in the world of professional fencing, Em focused on writing and performing songs. She became part of a growing LA pop scene that included other viral hitmakers like Mero, Isabella Rosa, Leah Kate, and Chappell Roan.
Chappell and I met in 2021. We had a session over Zoom, and then that didn't work out, but we did become friends. When I met her initially, she was like, this really stuck with me actually. This is an important part of my mentality. She was like, I've been in this industry long enough that I know if you stick it out, it will happen. And when she was telling me this, she was like, I don't know if I can afford my rent next month. And look at her now. Like, I think that's something that's really stuck with me. She's like, I see people drop like flies, but if you just keep going.
Em took Chappell's advice and just kept going. She released her first EP in 2017, but she didn't record a big single until Groundhog Day in early 2021. Later that year, she'd score her breakout hit.
I had written it about my experience with Groundhog Day because Groundhog Day was a song before that went like viral, but not at all to the level of Numb Little Bug. And I was getting a lot of different label offers and all my dreams were coming true and I was being put in sessions, but I was getting burnt out quickly and I was on meds. And that's kind of how the whole Numb Little Bug topic started in my mind. It got 1 million streams within 24 hours. And I didn't know how to process that, but I remember feeling like, wow, this is amazing. Also, wow, I need to keep up this momentum because it's so rare that you even get a shot to like have people listen to you like that. So I think it was definitely a combination of excitement and stress. I remember I couldn't complete sentences that day. I was talking in half sentences and then moving on to the next one because my head was just so jumbled. Posted August, went viral, released in January. It went through 14 versions of production between that time. So it took a while. And then that song basically booked the next 2 years.
Em's music career was off to a great start. What happened next changed her life.
Numb Little Bug was going actively viral Until I Found You hadn't gone viral yet. And I remember I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw a reel of Stephen singing and I liked it because I was like, this guy's so talented. And then my manager texted me and he was like, I've just gotten word that you're liking all of Stephen Sanchez's reels. They're wondering if you'd like to do a collab. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I literally seconds ago liked one reel, but sure, like he's so talented. And then I was under the impression we were going to write something new, But then they sent me that song and I was like, great. I wrote that verse in maybe 5 minutes. And I feel like that's kind of the funny thing about music is it's the thing you write in 5 minutes that's the billion streamer, and the thing you spend years on that like never cracks, I don't know, 10 million,
2 years after Numb Little Bug, Em Beihold could relax and enjoy her success, except for the whole debut album thing.
I think the truth is I got so creatively blocked. The success was awesome, but it was also stifling. I was writing lots of music. I was being put in sessions with lots of different producers and writers, but being like thrown into the tornado of the music industry like completely just made me not like music anymore. And I feel like I was writing with so many really talented people who just were great people, but maybe didn't understand my specific quirks and weirdness and like the things that make me me. And so I feel like I'd bring in snippets, but then be talked out of every part of the snippet until it's like a completely new song. I don't write songs for radio potential. Like it's awesome if they land there. That's never the intention. I do think that the debut album has been in the works since 2022 because Lottery is a song I co-wrote in 2022. Shiny New Things, I think, was 2023. It was, I was making all this music and a lot of it wasn't good, in my opinion. And I remember talking to my mom, as I do about everything, and I was just like, I want to do this as my job. I want longevity in this career, but I'm just making like really average stuff. And she said, imagine it like you're walking along the beach and you're picking up seashells, and later you'll see how like the seashell art comes together. And so I started thinking about it that way, where sometimes in a session, maybe I just have a great chorus or I have a great verse. And then eventually come 2024, around mid 2024, I found James Flanagan, who executive produced the project. I brought him everything that I thought had potential. I'd probably written, I would guess, around 400 songs and pieces since 2022, narrowed it down to 60. And then we listened through everything and picked the ones that we thought were cohesive for the album and also told the story of what my journey has been since Numb Little Bug. He also did Marina's last album, and I'm just a fan of him. So it was really special to work with him. Jason Sweeto did Hot Goblin, Unicorn, and then vocal production on a lot of the songs. And he's such an easy person to work with and so lovely and wonderful. No ego, which is rare in this industry. Nick Lopez and I wrote a lot together. Maisie Ollinger, Jason Evigan, Mike Wise, Timmy Skelly, Henry Brill. I've realized when I'm writing a song, unless it's very sad, I need to be laughing the whole time. Like it has to feel silly. And there's some people who just aren't. They just take music more seriously than I do. And then the session feels like work and it doesn't feel like play. So I think people who can really, capture that play feeling with me, it's so much fun.
Finally, the track list started falling into place.
Scared of the Dark probably came first because I wrote that chorus when I was 13 years old and it's been stuck in my head since. I'm 27 now. And at first it was truly about being scared of the dark, and then it became a song about codependency. And honestly, there's probably more songs that will resurface from things I wrote when I was very young. Probably that one first, Lottery, Shiny New Things. I think the last song written for the album was Unicorn. I was missing this like super pop flair until Hot Goblin and Unicorn, which were both of those were the last two. So once I had those two, I was like, oh, this all makes sense to me. I questioned if Soup would make the track list. I was like on the fence about it for a bit, and now that's my favorite. Like my favorites change every few days, but Soup, I just think people think it's silly, but if you actually really go into the lyrics, like every lyric is so intentional leading back to the concept of soup. Also, people think that song is about me not liking soup. It's not that. I love soup. I love soup. But the point of it is that I had a falling out with a friend group, and my mom was like, no worries. These people are all like soup. They all mesh together in this one mushy, I don't know if the word is congruous, if that's what I'm looking for, but it's all one thing. There's not a lot of differentiation. So it's not about not liking soup, and I do think that's very important to share. For me, I wanted to make a no-skip album for my own ears. The album is fairly short, it's about half an hour. Some people have complained about that, but it was longer actually, and then I was like, I would skip this, so I took it out. I'm just so not a filler person. Like even in terms of talking, I feel like filler moments in albums are like small talk, and I just don't do small talk. I get straight to the point, and I feel like the album is the same. I think it's crazy that so many years are condensed into half an hour. Like with the time spent on this album, I would think it would be like a 5 hour long album at least, not just 30.
Now that the album is out in the world, what's next? A tour, of course.
I'm yet to go into rehearsals, so I can't answer for sure yet. But I will say that this tour, I'll be behind the piano a lot more than in the past, which I'm excited about. And I am making an effort to make this show a lot more live music based and less track heavy, because I feel like sometimes the shows with tracks just feel like wall of sound. And one of my favorite shows I've been to is Lizzie McAlpine, when, I mean, it was just like euphoric, the sound of that show. And I think because I am definitely more pop than Lizzie, there will be some trackage, but I don't know if it's necessarily like a pop show. I'm probably going to take a little time after tour to just refill the well, and then we'll be writing again. I love writing for other people, so I'll be doing that for sure.
Through it all, Em has relied on her family for advice, support, and comfort. They're very close, literally.
I'm also neighbors with my parents on one side and my grandma on the other side, so I spend a lot of time with my family. My parents and I have traditions of watching our little shows together. Like, we will not miss a Survivor. We will not miss Traders. It's important.
Will we ever hear a new Stephen Sanchez, Em Beihold duet?
We will run into each other at like Republic events. He lives in Nashville, so we don't talk super often, but he's lovely.
So, maybe? This has been How Music is Made. Join me next episode when my guest will be They Might Be Giants. Particle Man, doing the things a particle can. See you next time.